Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. This is episode 231.
Woo!
Wow. I know. It's fucking batshit. And I'm here to talk about 2 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, When It Rains and Tacking into the Wind. And of course, here to discuss with me, I brought my friends. I am Caitlin.
I'm Jake!
Oh, no.
That was loud, and this is Chris.
That was less loud. This is Ames.
I'm James.
James! Welcome back, James.
James, not nearly loud enough.
What? I can be louder.
No.
No,
Don't do
no
it.
more louder.
Go get some bells.
And whistles. So here we are again. God, I don't even know. I'm going to try to follow a couple, I'm going to try to do what we've been doing and do it a line at a time, maybe. So the first thing that I can think of that happens in this is that Gowron is coming to Deep Space Nine to do Martok a big honor. Or so it seems. But in fact, after awarding Martok a big, you're a fucking awesome general, bro, medal, Gowron's like, and now I will be taking charge of the war and shit with his crazy face and his mouth and his eyes. Mostly his eyes. And Martok's like, what? You gave me a medal and now you're making me a bitch? What the fuck? And Worf is like, oh, he's trying to humiliate you because he thinks you want to become Space Pope or whatever of the Worf Empire, I almost said, of the Klingon Empire. And Martok's like, but I'm a soldier. I don't want to be Chancellor. I don't wanna. And Worf's like, well, too bad, because I'm going to challenge Gowron to battle and kill the fuck out of him, because he keeps losing battles and making us all look like bitches. And that's exactly what Worf does. He bat-lefts him right in the fucking gut, kills Gowron. Everybody's like, yay, Worf, you're the Chancellor. And he's like, oh, hell no, Martok is the Chancellor. I don't think so. And Martok's like, okay. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, bad news, guys, Odo, he's got the junk. He's got the junk, and not
trunk?
only...
The vid?
Yeah, well, definitely not in the trunk. I think he's got a little teeny butt. But, speaking of butt... Wow. Not only does he have the junk, guys, he might have originated the junk. And you know where he might have got the goddamn junk? Starfleet. Starfleet might have given that motherfucker the space junk so that he could spread it to all his founder friends and do them all a death.
Who's more dishonorable, Gowron or Starfleet?
Starfleet.
More like Star.
Being fair, it's probably Section 31.
Yeah,
More like Section 30,
30
sucks.
dumb.
Yeah.
30 dumb.
Oh, you got their number. It's 31. That's their number.
Hey.
That is their number. Yeah, and Julian is trying to cure the shit, but he's running into a lot of roadblocks. People being all like, do you got Sigma 9, Ultraman, Powerman 5000 access or what? And he's like, no. But Cisco does, and they give Cisco a pile of bullshit that Julian only recognizes because he knows that, some resonance something or other on Odo comes back the exact same as it came back once before, which is apparently impossible.
Would you say it's a fake?
It's a fake. Yes, I would, as
Good.
it turns out. Yes. And so Bashir is like, oh, I have to solve this. It's what I do, damn it, is I solve viruses. And O'Brien's like, look here, you fruity bugger. You're never going to do it on your own. But what we can do is we can lure in Section 31 and then fuck them in the ass until they give us the answer and help cure the genophage or whatever.
Yeah. Ignore that Ezri's trying to proclaim her love for you and do this thing we need you to do.
Oh, yeah, that's a B.2 plot is that, Julian's like, but why is Ezri always avoiding me all the time? Gee whiz. And Ezri's like, well, I need to tell you how I feel. I fucked Worf. And Bashir's like, all right, well, fucking say no more, I guess. Shit. And so that kind of goes nowhere. Oh, what else is new? The Cardassians see... The Cardassians, they're our friends now. I mean, sort of, not really. They're still cunts, but
Damar
they're helping us fight. Damar's our buddy. But the problem is they're used to big assaults and face-to-face combat type shit, but they gotta learn the guerrilla warfare. And who better to teach Cardassians guerrilla warfare than
Garrick.
Fucking Kira Nerys? What the fuck?
Right.
Cisco's like, hey, I know you fucking hate that guy because, you know, he represents everything that was horrible in your childhood and growing up, and his people have raped your country, and he also shot your friend, sister, wife. But, I don't know. Zial. Who I'm talking about Zial.
Okay.
You know, but I think it would be really nice if you would just go and teach him. And Kira's like, what are you fucking kidding me? And Cisco's like, no, like, someone's got to teach him. They got to learn. If we're going to win this thing, they got to fucking switch it up. And Nerys is like, fine, I guess I can put our differences aside. And Garrick goes with her because he also knows a thing or two, and he's going to help us do spy shit when we go and try to pick off little bases here and there with our little cells of 10 to 20 people. Kira's doing that, but of course she's running into a whole bunch of bullshit. Rousat is Damar's second in command, who is outwardly hostile towards her over and over again. Kira almost has to kill a bitch a couple times, and she'd do it too. But she doesn't do it. But she doesn't do it. Yeah, if it weren't for you meddling motherfuckers. So... But she does her part, and she's trying to teach him. And at first there's this whole like pushback about, no, we can't kill other Cardassians. And Kira's like, listen to yourselves. If you make it, you know, if it becomes known that you won't attack bases with your own people in them, the Dominion's just going to put your own people at every base, and we're not going to get any ground ever. And this is just never going to end, at least not the way we want it to. And so Damar has to be like, okay, yeah, I guess we can kill some Cardassians if we have to. What else is good? What else happens? I'm getting there. I'm not. Kai Wynn. We got an update from Kai Wynn. And
wait, there's still more to the rebellion subplot.
Let her do it, Chris.
What is it?
They got to go get the Breen weapon.
Oh right, I forgot that they were going to go do that. They haven't done it yet, have they? Did I miss it?
They did.
Yeah, they did it.
They got it at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Damar shot Bobby Moynihan.
Yes, well, because he was fucking picking on her. Well, Nerys again.
But he's gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Was that Rousat?
Yeah, Rousat, that son of a bitch. So yeah, Damar shoots him, and he's like, he was my friend. Oh well. Well, he's dead now. But yeah, so they did that, and it's the disruptor thing. And also, like, because they're trying to figure out, it apparently doesn't work on Klingon ships, but it works on other ships, and they're trying to figure out how to combat that effectively, because, you know, they have Klingons, fewer than they had before, thanks to Gowron's fucking fuckery, but, you know, the Romulan ships can be targeted, Starfleet ships can still be targeted, so they gotta get to the bottom of that. So then, Trouble in Paradise with Gul Dukat and Kai Wynn. Gul Dukat, that stupid son of a bitch, he was like, I really want to read the book, the Costa Nostra, whatever the fuck it's called, and Costamogen. Yep. And, you know, Kai Wynn's all cute. She's like, but it's for my eyes only. And Dukat's like, well, fuck that. And he decides he's going to take a peek anyway. But the Pa Wraiths have a different idea, and they fucking Pa Wraith his fucking eyeballs, and now he is blind. And Kai Wynn's all like, oh, Gul Dukat, I told you that it was for my eyes only. And he's like, yeah, that's very fucking funny. Can you fix my eyes? And she's like, nope, you have to do that. You gotta learn some humility, bitch. Yeah, so she has security take Dukat out, and she's like, go beg on the street for a while and see if that fixes your fucking attitude. And he's like, are you shitting me? I'm newly blind. And she's like, bye. And then we get this great shot of her making a really fantastic and truly evil little smile face. She's the cat that got the cream is Kai Wynn. So who knows what's next from that evil bitch. What else we got? We got anything else?
I think
Damar fucking kills the hell out of Rousat. Did we get that?
We mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, we went back and mentioned that. Yeah, well, they were, because he was fucking with Nerys again. It's too bad, you know, but sometimes you gotta kill.
I wasn't sad to see him go.
Sometimes you gotta kill your best friend. It's just shit happens. No, I know. I just mean like everyone else is trying to put aside their differences, and Rousat is just being a twat. So, Ruse twat.
Yeah, Damar has a good line to that effect, saying like, his Cardassia is dead. Yeah. I'm thinking ahead to what the new Cardassia has to be for us to continue existing, and he's just going to get in the way. So, bye.
Yeah. Losing his family really kicked him in the nuts.
Oh yeah, that was super sad, and Kira was a bitch about it.
I mean, pretty appropriately so.
Yeah, but hun, read the room. Jesus.
I mean, are we moving into discussion phase?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's nowhere else to go.
I mean, she was like, oh, that was bad timing. And Garrick was like, oh, honey, no, it wasn't.
Nah, he needed that shit.
This was the perfect time for it.
Garrick's also a psycho.
Even to Damar, Kira feels like, is kind of like, maybe that could have waited. Even though Damar is responsible for literally, who knows how many families being killed in very similar ways.
Yeah.
And like, no, I think it was definitely the right time. He unfortunately really had that coming.
I disagree because his character has many facets, and the one we're talking about right now is he's seeing the what Cardassia can be, and he's seeing like if my people can kill my family, and that sucks a whole lot. But also, Kira's going to rub salt in the wound while I literally just got the news that my family is all dead. Why do I care about her?
I mean, so in that moment, there is two things going on, because Damar is giving this thing being like, it's like my family's dead. Who could do this? Who could
what kind of
order the deaths
this?
of women and children? And so in that, he's recognizing that like what the Dominion is doing is really terrible, but at the same time, he's kind of pretending that that's not what the Cardassians have been doing for literal decades. Like he can't have Cardassia be something new if he doesn't admit what it used to be.
But you can't wait like half an hour.
I don't know if he deserved it. For like. He was like at best, Damar was an officer at a concentration camp, like an SS officer at a concentration camp. At best, he may actually be the kind of person who ran a concentration camp. Like when it comes to this kind of thing, like, no, you need to confront it. Like this is a reflection of the very acts that he had taken for decades.
Yes, but I'm thinking he's not going to be able to literally hear anything else in the minutes after he learned his family has been slaughtered.
But apparently he did.
I'm personally with Garrick saying that was the moment when he was most likely to hear it. The moment, like, he basically had to be confronted in this moment of his greatest pain. He has to realize that he has made the exact same decisions the Dominion did. And now that it has happened to him, he is recognizing the horror of those kinds of acts. But in like afterward, he might start like reasoning things or justifying things. Like, you start putting up the barriers up and you start putting up the false narrative you tell yourself about what you did, like what they did on Bajor. Like they could be like, no, it was different. But in this very moment, he can directly connect those two. Like,
there's a lot
it's very harsh, very, very awful to put someone through. But again, this was a Nazi who has never admitted to the fact that they did anything wrong. Like, I'm not going to have a whole lot of sympathy for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of reckoning with one's own excuses, I guess, for lack of a better term, in this plot line. You've got that. And you've got the whole thing with, like, well, admittedly, it comes out of Rousseau, so we're kind of like, but he's kind of right. Like, by a lot of definitions, Odo kind of was a collaborator.
No, Odo was a collaborator.
Oh, yeah. True.
And that's...
Yeah, no, that's... No, there is no difference. Odo was a collaborator. Kira literally had no words. She was just like, no, it's different. Like, because it's not. Like,
and then she got mad and broke a bunch of stuff because
it's true.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
even though it's coming out of one of the worst people in the room.
Okay, I think it's a little bit different, only because he wasn't a Bajoran who done a turncoat, right? He was a totally separate entity that was sort of brought up by the Cardassians. So, I mean, him doing what they tell him.
He was brought up by Morapol.
What?
Well, yeah, he brought up, and then he moved in with the Cardassians.
Or moved in with the Cardassians. Well, either way, I guess my point is just that it probably, I just feel like it's a little bit different. I'm not saying that it's excusable. I would say he's a war criminal. I think labeling him a collaborator might be not quite right.
I mean, those tend to go hand in hand.
I mean, I'm willing to admit that there might be different levels, like different like levels of collaborator, but it's
shades of collaborator.
Still at its core. Well, I mean, I think Rasat said it like, well, why didn't you quit?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and Odo didn't say, "Oh, I couldn't quit." Like,
he could have made himself into a filing cabinet for the entirety that the Cardassian occupation was taking place and not done a fucking thing. He could have stored some files. Would that make him a collaborator?
He could have been a filing cabinet that every time they opened it up, they're like, "Oh, we got to go find this Bajoran terrorist," and they would open up the thing and they'd be like, "I can't find the file in here anywhere. This is ridiculous and is hampering our investigation." That could have been Odo. That filing cabinet, no one could find anything in.
Yeah, I would suspect that in Odo's mind, he feels that if it weren't him doing that job, then it would be a Cardassian.
And it would
be much
worse.
more brutal and more arbitrary. So it's almost
Better-
like he's the
better to-
lesser evil.
Yeah, better to sell himself out than let himself be replaced by someone worse.
I don't know. He seemed to really enjoy breaking knees.
Well,
like
who doesn't?
his attitudes like through the series have been very fascistic. I don't know if that's actually a word.
Fascistic.
But thank you. But there is also that flashback mind trip episode where they were showing, you know, Odo during an investigation where Odo's just tired and so he didn't do his job and he let an innocent person die.
Yeah.
Like
couple innocent people.
Yeah, so there are instances like that I think point to him being way more complicit. Like, he could have done more. He actively chose not to do more in other circumstances. Yeah. And assuming that the flashback mind trip episode is accurate in its portrayal, I don't remember, you know, the Odo stand-in acting like a good person exactly.
You mean acting like a dumbass?
He's an asshole.
Because it was Red Foreman.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think that Odo's actions still like rise to level of collaborator.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's something that Kira doesn't really let herself think about right now while they're in a relationship, or she will not be able to take it.
Well, so here's my question, and this is like this might be too philosophical / too something. At what point, if at any point, can you forgive someone for a shitty fucky past if they're making good on their present and their future?
I mean, that's
about Odo's future. We've seen future Odo. He kills a bunch of people.
Oh, in the fake time thingy.
Yeah.
Well, that Odo doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it's still Odo. It's just really blue balls Odo.
But yeah, I mean, I guess
to Caitlin's question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blue balls Odo.
Like, I guess
that would be a special Funko Pop.
To an extent, there's a question of what did the person do? I mean, I think, you could say there are some acts that are unforgivable, you know? Like, again, let's say a guy that ran a concentration camp. I don't care what they spend the rest of their life doing. No. Someone like, say, Odo, who was like, I have to do a bad job, but if not me, it would be someone worse, and now I'm actively trying to be better. Like, maybe. It also depends on how sincere the regret is.
Here's the other thing. The two don't cancel each other out. This isn't like when you're doing like a math problem with fractions and you're dividing by denominators and all this bullshit. This isn't that. The numbers remain the whole numbers that they are. Odo is always going to have done these things, no matter what he does now. Like, you can't make up for it. You can just do new things.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, and that's, I think it comes to a lot of these, the big buzzword now is, cancel culture. It's like, no one wants anyone to go away except those who refuse to understand that they have done wrong and won't apologize for it.
Odo is canceled.
That's quite, your mileage may vary, on whether or not we want Odo to go away. Like, is there enough regret and good works that can make you go, all right, you're allowed to stick around and continue to try to...
Well, he's literally working himself to death to try to win the war. So, I mean, at what point? That's what I mean, I guess.
But, that's I think
like, it's something that goes towards, like, there's kind of a lot of it going on right now with, like, you know, the repairing someone's character and, like, you know, because you have Odo, which is kind of like a smaller scale version of it. You have Damar, who's a much bigger copy of it. And then you've also got Cardassia, like, itself as a whole, like the Cardassian culture. And, like, a lot of sci-fi shows, like, usually what they do is they'll kind of turn everything on a dime, where it's like you've got a character who's kind of bad or ambiguous, and then there'll be like one event, and then they're just good guys.
Redemption arc. No one look back anymore. And it reminds me. Oh, go ahead.
And no, just so, like, one thing that is interesting about the show, but also sometimes kind of a failing of the show, is they approach attempting to redeem people. Like, a lot of the stuff that's been going on with Damar is slowly rehabilitating him. That's kind of the goal. They want Damar at the end of, like, the show to maybe be like someone you can start rooting for despite being a Cardassian, because he seems to be making these steps. Like, he killed he had a friend who literally said, Damar, I believe in you. We can save Cardassia. And Damar's like, sorry, buddy, and shoots him. Like, those are the kinds of steps where it's like clearly, like, if the old Damar who believed in the old decisions and old values that resulted in concentration camps, that Damar would have shot Kira. And the fact that he shot, like, one of his closest allies, the person who he trusted the most to be his right-hand man to form a rebellion, he winds up shooting him in the back of the head to save people who he should, according to old Cardassia, consider enemies. And so, sorry, that's a long thing. Yeah, so that's like, that is attempting to show Damar considering, like, redemption.
Yeah, but I think what this episode does a little bit is it kind of... You're not thinking at all about where Damar has really come from in terms of... Here, I'll say it this way. Both Andrew Robinson and the Na'vi Visitor were like, we don't bring up Zial to Damar, and there's no healing, and it's never brought up. Like, we never say, like, you were also this guy who did this thing, regardless of if we're trying to help you now. It doesn't get brought up because Ira Bear basically said, yeah, if we're thinking of Damar in that light while we're doing this, you know, this arc of him becoming our fucking savior, then you're not gonna want to back him.
And yet they did still have a scene where it was brought up, just not to him.
Yeah, they don't bring it up to him because they don't want him to have to, I don't know, relive that. I don't know.
It would have been a good. So I'm fairly certain that, like, the idea of, like, Damar's rehabilitation just winds up, it doesn't go far enough. Ultimately, I'm not entirely sure. I cannot remember what happens for the rest of the episodes, to be honest. But I don't feel like it gets addressed enough to warrant, like, I remember watching the show like 10 years ago and coming away, like, rather fondly thinking of Damar, and I don't think that's warranted. I think that's intended. I think you're intended to sympathize with Damar and, like, you know, kind of root for him, but I don't think the show actually pulls it off the way that they should have when it comes to redeeming him. And the Zial stuff would have actually been a really good step in that direction, where like this was not only like an awful act that he performed, like, you know, killing who knows how many families, you know, during occupation. He literally straight up murdered somebody, you know, because he, you know, thought she was, like, turning on Cardassia.
Yeah, because she freed the prisoners from the brig. That's what happened. He learns that, like, it was her, and he shoots her.
And, like, seeing Damar come to terms with that would have actually really, he could have really started to tie all these things together, like the death of his own family, his literal murder of a family member very young of, like, someone he had respected at the time, and the things that were conducted on Bajor. Like, that actually could have been a good core part of Damar reanalyzing the acts he took part in.
Yeah, I think right now we're at the point where...
I don't think that's...
Good.
Go ahead.
Ooh.
You go.
Oh. I don't think that the show needs to rehabilitate Damar into a hero. I think Damar just needs to be the hero of Cardassia. Like, I'm never going to think that Damar is a good guy. And I mean, if the writers are trying to do that, then,
it's not working.
Good luck to them. Yeah. But I think, I think you can have a character that grows and changes, not necessarily being forgiven for their past sins, but understanding that, okay, they went from being a piece of shit in one way to being a slightly different type of piece of shit that's maybe less shitty.
Yeah, like I definitely find Damar and his plot right now really fascinating and interesting, but I don't necessarily think he has been made heroic. You know, I think it's more like, you know, he finally, like, something had, you know, this whole thing with the Breen was the straw that broke the camel's back. And yeah, it's not so much of it's, you know, and again, I think Jake, you put it best. He needs to be a hero to Cardassia, and their standards are quite different. So
yeah, because that's his motivation. His motivation isn't do the right thing. No Cardassian does that. That would be hilarious. His motivation is, oh, the Dominion doesn't actually care about Cardassia. I care about Cardassia. If we do it a different way, Cardassia will do better.
Yeah. What interests me the most, though, is now they're very openly talking about there's going to supposedly be a new Cardassia. And how does Garak feel about this? Because really,
a good question.
Garak has always been a true believer. You know, he was very happily in the Obsidian Order and stuff. So
I was shocked he still has contacts on Cardassia. I thought we killed them all already.
That's the other
his old nanny or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it might not be contacts so much as people he has dirt on.
Yeah.
Like
that's true.
Yeah, the contacts are gone, but the blackmail is still there.
I don't know. After it's a fake episode, title is gone. I thought he said, I'm literally going to cash in every single one of my people who I have in my back pocket.
Well, at the Obsidian Order people.
Were they just Obsidian Order? I thought it was everybody.
I don't know.
Because Obsidian Order has been gone for seasons now.
Well, yeah, but he said I think at the time he said that he had several contacts left from his time in the Obsidian Order, and then they all were dead after he contacted them.
I mean, there's two things you can consider for that. One, Garak lies. And two, it's been a while since that episode. He's had time to build up some new favors owed.
Yeah, he made somebody a very nice dress, and now...
So nice.
Yeah, I think Garak in these two episodes, not nearly enough of him. I feel like a lot of the stuff that Kira was kind of doing, he should have been doing. Like, there was a point where Kira says something, and he's like, yes, I agree. And that was it in that whole fucking scene.
Yeah, when she was talking specifically about smaller cells of people so that, you know, being captured, you can't sell out all your friends.
Yeah. Garak says, ditto. End of scene.
Yeah, we used to do that.
Except what's great with him in this is, like, he doesn't say much, but there's just so much of him lurking in the background, expressing.
Literally half
he gives
in
a lot
shadow
of face
while he's telling Kira to murder somebody.
That was great. When he slinks out, you can barely see that, like, had push come to shove, he had a phaser in his hand.
Mm-hmm. I fucking loved when he pulled the gun on Gul Rusat on the ship, on the Dominion ship. And I was like, oh, fuck. Never, you know, thought of the Garak character this way, but hot.
Very, yes.
Like, I liked the Garak and Kira stuff. Like, that was something that me and my friend, when we were watching, we were enjoying. There's so little of it, though. Like, it would have been interesting to see more of that. Because, like, I don't know, Garak is interesting on Cardassia, because he loves Cardassia, and technically, he probably should have sided with Rasat when it comes to what is purely Cardassia's interests, but he also, like, respects Kira, so, like, little bit of tension there.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, Rasat, like, you know, there's, again, as far as parallels go, like, the way Rasat wants to do things won't work right now. They just won't. Like, you don't know how to be a guerrilla fighter, and that's what needs to be done right now. Gowron wants to, like, swoop in and be like, most of the hard work has been done, let me do the cleanup and get all the credit.
They're nowhere near cleanup time. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's not cleanup time.
Understand that they're nowhere near that yet.
He's way off, you know? He's like, these are both two men trying to use methodologies that are not applicable at this point in time. And it goes well for neither of them because of it.
It's very funny because they make a big fucking deal about how, no one's gonna have any trust and respect for Kira if she goes over there in a Bajoran uniform. Let's kit her out in a really nice, I mean, she looked great in the Starfleet uniform, but they still don't trust or respect her, so that was really worth nothing.
Yeah, she's still Kira.
She still looks
well,
great.
they probably would have treated her even more like shit if she was just in a Bajoran.
How is that possible?
I'm surprised they didn't use the non-aggression pact as a
because they keep forgetting that exists.
Well, yeah, clearly.
I actually thought that they might, like, when they cut away to be like, oh, I think I know what we can do to make this work. I thought for sure they were going to roll out Cardassian Kira again.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed when that was not the case.
That actually would have been an hysterical counterpoint to Bajoran Dukat.
That's funny.
That's actually true.
And then they
when Kira gets the new
kiss.
uniform, like, and that's like the moment where you're like, oh, she's gonna be a Cardassian again. I was like, I thought that too. And then like the camera kind of pans around, and like as it was going around, I was like, oh no, she's definitely not a Cardassian. I actually seriously thought that maybe they removed the Bajoran nose ridges, and like they were making a really big deal about how like, haha, now you look like a human instead of a Bajoran. No one will know.
That's the thing, like, it's still obviously her, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not like turning Dukat into a Bajoran, like...
Yeah, I don't think it was, it wasn't a disguise, right? You know?
No, it was just...
No, that's what I was expecting is all.
Yeah.
It was also, it's one thing to, you know, even if they don't respect her as being, you know, as a Bajoran, they at least have to respect the uniform to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
not much more though.
Well, no, but
well,
you know,
and the old uniform literally would have been like a slap in the face to the Cardassians. They would have considered it an affront to their pride.
Yeah.
Should have worn that gown from the other week. Yeah.
I did like that Garrick was doing a little tailoring on it when we first see that. He's like,
Oh, funny.
Oh, that scene had a nice moment too, where they were like, "Oh, Odo, you should change your uniform too." And he's how does this look? And like actually had a really clean visual effect where his costumes changed from his normal security costume to like what he had been wearing when he worked for the Cardassians. Like that was kind of cool. I liked that moment.
I mean, really, he should have put on a tuxedo instead of that outfit that he had.
I mean, honestly, the change, while I agree it was well executed, God, what a drab uniform.
Yeah, no, that's what Gary says.
Which is what Garrick's
pretty drab.
He's right. It was so fucking dull. I was like, God, could we zhuzh it up a little bit?
That is the one way he's a bad Cardassian. He has taste.
Yeah.
Oh, Garrick does.
Yeah. But then he reminds me, well, that's what I wore, and I worked for the Cardassians. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I had a thought when this episode was like first starting, and there was a huge missed opportunity that I think would have been amazing had things turned out a little different. But I think instead of sending Kira to the Cardassians, or maybe in addition to sending Kira to the Cardassians, they should have sent Eddington.
Oh,
leader of the Maquis.
They should have kept Eddington alive.
Had he been alive, he would have been a really, really interesting person to be working.
That would have been amazing.
You're not wrong. That would have been incredible.
Like, and supposedly the Maquis had like, it's like, you know, it's like, were there Cardassian members of the Maquis, or were they like Maquis strictly anti-Cardassian? I can't remember, because the whole situation.
I think
was
they
so
were
confusing
pretty
and messed up.
anti-Cardassian.
I can't imagine a Cardassian being welcome among the Maquis.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless it was a Cardassian who like had been banished.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point of the organization was to fight Cardassia's taking of the border worlds.
Yeah, and Starfleet's allowing of it.
That horrible fucking treaty that goes all the way back to TNG and has driven so much ever since.
I guess I just liked the idea so much I got it in my own head.
Where's Ro Laren
it's not
these
true.
days? Is Ro around? They could have sent Ro.
That would have been good too. But like, it would have been cool if like, I guess in my head I was like, oh, well, there was also Cardassians who were screwed over by the treaty who didn't like it. So like maybe at times the Maquis and Cardassians in that area where like the planetary boundaries are so screwed up may have actually would have teamed up. But I just thought that would have been interesting as opposed to.
It would have been a thing to explore, but not that I know of. But yes, that would have been pretty great if he'd not been killed and they just brought him out of.
It would have been good. It would have been wicked appropriate because he had been doing the guerrilla tactics against the Cardassian Empire. Like, he would have been a great fit for it.
That's true.
And while he was in jail yet again, he could have fallen in love with a different novel that he could incessantly quote.
Oh, the Cardassians would have hated him so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's fairly fascinating looking at where these episodes came from, because originally Odo wasn't supposed to get sick. He was just supposed to be a typhoid Mary that got everybody else sick.
Well, I would have much preferred that.
I don't know. The thing is, like, the rationality there is, if it's just something that we learn already happened, where's the tension? Nothing new is happening because we've learned this. But if we actively learn this, then it opens up a lot of doors and stuff. But they also realized, but we also kind of wanted Odo actively looking for the cure, or looking into the disease with Bashir, but we also don't want to split him and Kira up, and we're sending Kira out over this way. So I guess Odo will get the disease and be with Kira, and I guess Bashir's new assistant in figuring this out is going to be Orion. Check. He doesn't seem to have staff.
Yeah. You know what kind of bums me out?
What's that?
I realize this means Odo probably infected his buddy from a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Loss.
Oh no, Loss.
This poor prick's going to be out there one day being a cow, and he's going to start falling apart, and he's not going to know why.
No, he was kind of a dick, though.
I mean, a lot of his dickishness was kind of justified.
I think there's a book in which he gets himself cured.
Good.
Yay.
I mean, presumably, if he started getting sick, he would probably come back and seek out Odo or somebody.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Desperately seeking Odo.
But yeah, I also feel like it's so much looking back, because, this is all new stuff that they just decided for this season. So it's a matter of looking back at the timeline so far and being like, okay, what are we going to pretend we've been planning this whole time? Odo was infected by Section 31 during Homefront. Done!
That actually feels super believable.
It does.
Yeah,
Which I do. I
does.
like that. I appreciate it.
I feel like Leighton would have been involved. Maybe Leighton was involved in Section 31.
Oh, that prick.
Piece of shit.
He might have been, actually. Or at the very least, if he didn't know, if he wasn't involved with them, they heard about his plan and were like, we like this. We're going to quietly assist this from the shadows.
It's basically what they wanted to do with Hugh.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
except this time they
give him
went
a
the
virus, send him
STD
back,
angle.
let him genocide an entire species.
Yep.
Yeah, and Kira is a very good girlfriend. It was very sweet when she says, yeah, I know he's falling apart, and I know he doesn't want me to know he's falling apart, so I'm going to keep pretending so he feels better.
Yeah.
At least about that one tiny thing.
And it's a goddamn good thing he came on that mission, because that whole subterfuge with the female changeling, the old switcheroo there, that really
Yeah, the
worked.
Wookiee prisoner trick.
Yeah.
Well, they did Wookiee prisoner plus perfect disguise
Mm-hmm.
and hand the enemy the gun trick.
Yep.
I liked that moment when he was disguised as the female changeling, because she said a word really weird.
Plasma.
Yeah.
Plasma. Like, plasma. Like, the way she was talking was not the way she normally talks, and I liked that a lot. Like, Odo definitely got it wrong. Like, got the voice wrong.
Do we think that was intentional?
I mean, she's literally been acting through this series.
Has she
through these
have
few
we
episodes.
heard her say plasma before?
Granted, I don't think so, but I don't think she would be like, plasma.
But it wasn't just that. Like, there was definitely something a little, stilted and weird about the way she was talking in general.
Oh, I thought that was because it was ideal. In show, it was Odo pretending to be the female changeling who was sick. In world, it's the act. In real life world, it is Salome Jens being a changeling who is sick.
No, it was Odo. They made Odo up to look like her.
God damn it.
That was actually Renee under there.
God damn it.
Speaking of...
Sorry, no, just real quick. I'll admit, as embarrassing as it is, for a second, I was like, oh my god, it's the female changeling. I thought it was actually her.
Oh, yeah, I totally fell for it. I'm like, why would she give the gun to Carrick? Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me, show.
See, I'll admit, for a split second, I was like, oh, fuck, this is going to ruin the play. Oh, wait, idiot, that's Odo.
Yeah.
And, once she took the gun, I was like, oh, that's definitely Odo.
Wow. I, for once, was completely on top of that shit. I was like, that's Odo.
I mean,
Well,
Odo doesn't believe in guns, yet he got all those people shot. So
he was upset.
Well, then he was mad about it. He's like, "You have to kill them all."
yeah,
Yeah, it's like, "Yeah, I fucking did, idiot."
the pearl clutching on this guy over here. Jesus.
Yeah. The real sign though that it wasn't her was that she was alone. Like
she
she wouldn't show up.
Some Jem'Hadar guards, didn't she?
Nope.
They were just
already on the bridge.
Okay.
But she came in alone. So Worf, right?
Oh, that.
The kingmaker of Kronos.
No, right?
He's now picked 2 chancellors in a row.
Well, let's hope he did a better fucking job this time.
I think he did.
Well,
for now.
Also,
I also
think
he did, but
has Worf been like specifically ordered to stay out of Klingon politics? And then Sisko goes to him and is like, "Hey, think you could kill Gowron? Because Gowron needs a killing."
Sorry, no, go ahead.
All he said was do whatever you have to. He didn't explicitly say bend the prime directive over a table and fuck it.
It was heavily implied.
Sisko knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
When he goes to Worf and is like
first.
When he's like,
which
hey, Worf,
I loved, by the way.
Gowron
I love that
needs
signature
to go.
move.
Say again, Jake.
It wasn't like Worf was going to be like, I'll convince him to retire.
That was the original plan. That was Ron Moore's original plan, that Worf would literally just talk Gowron into retiring and letting Martok, I don't know if it would be the Chancellor or at least lead the army again. And then Michael Piller reads this in his notes, because Michael Piller is kind of like on the periphery, just, as occasionally sending emails. And he writes back, says, no, I think someone like Worf needs to kill Gowron. And Ronald D. Moore says, oh my God, you're right. Yes. And now I have all the boners.
Gowron is not a man that listens to reason. Gowron is the man who became Chancellor, started immediately rewriting Klingon history, and bought that jacket.
Yeah, and now he's jealous that Martok is getting so much credit, and he's not.
Yeah.
He's Trump.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he really always has been.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing is, Gowron was never a great option, but it was either him or a Doros or something back in the day. It's like, oh, God, save, I guess this one?
Yeah,
Picard. The answer should be Picard.
I do appreciate that, like, this is absolutely in keeping with his character the entire time. Like, it totally makes sense. Like, you could definitely imagine some shows at, like, the end, they're like, oh, we got to get all these pieces here and there, so this person will just be evil and we'll kill him. Like, it's, like, doing it really fast, but, like, this is how it was going to go.
Yeah, no, like, the only thing he fucked up, really, was just that he thought it was cleanup time and it wasn't.
Yeah.
He was a little too... his plan totally could have worked, but he jumped the gun. He was impatient, which, again, kind of feels Gowron, so...
Yeah. I don't know. You know what? The biggest disappointment of that whole scene is that nobody shocked his body with those
Oh, you're right. I forgot about those
When
sticks.
the Chancellor dies, you got to give him the old stick shock to make sure he's dead.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought it was a fairly weak death, considering, like, we saw when Worf stabbed the fuck out of Duras, it was fucking batleth to the chest. This was 2 little daggers to the belly, and it's like, is he even dead? I can't... Would you die from that?
Well, he did stab both of Gowron's livers.
Oh,
so.
But
that's exactly
redundant livers all the way down.
That is exactly what Chris said. It's wild that you just said that.
No, it's exactly what Pat said, actually.
Oh, I thought you said it.
No.
Oh, shit.
Pat goes, both his livers.
He did. Okay, I thought it was you. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I mean, there must be some really vital organ that Klingons have in that area.
But they have multiples of other organs.
Well,
yeah, but if you
that's why
stab both livers...
Worf got him on both sides.
Maybe there's just a big artery there.
2 big arteries, eh?
Yeah, but because he died pretty damn quickly for a gut wound.
Yeah, I think he had to go for the throat. Or the eyes! My God!
It also was kind of a
missed opportunity.
It was also kind of a cheap shot too, because he like played possum, and then when Gowron came to give the coup de grace is when Worf sprung. So I'm
possums
surprised.
are the least honorable.
Gowron's won things because Worf distracted the person he was fighting.
That's also true.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's playing possum. Right? He was legit thrown to that big fucking plate glass and just had to get up from where he was.
But he was waiting for Gowron to come over.
Well, yeah,
so
he was being
him.
opportunistic, but it wasn't like he was cheating.
I just think, though, that, like, Gowron... Because let's not forget here, assuming we're in the same universe that Parallels was in, Worf is a champion Batleth fighter.
True.
Well, he's also way bigger than Gowron.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, if he fucking loses this, he is the king of bitches. Because he has all the weight on Gowron. He's taller than him. There's no way he would lose that fight.
Yeah, way back
Worf
in... I want to say Apocalypse Rising, when they thought Gowron was a changeling, but it was actually Martok. And Worf is fighting the fuck out of Gowron. And if I remember correctly, Worf almost killed him. Is that right?
Sounds right.
Before suddenly Odo's like, wait, it's this guy.
Yeah. Although, I will say, I remember thinking at the time that Gowron did hold his own way better than I expected him to. In that episode.
But it definitely seems like killing the Chancellor of the Klingon Empire can be a good or bad thing depending on context.
Yeah. You can just do it right in the middle of your board meeting on the other side of the room.
Yeah, that's good. Do it at the, order of the Batleth induction committee. Not as cool.
Yeah, Klingons are weird.
That's that is a good segue to that cool conversation Ezri had with Worf.
Yeah.
Like Ezri like actually like sat down and slammed the Klingon Empire in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Ezri was me in that moment, and I was like, yes, this is all correct.
There's lots of hard truths this week.
Yeah, so it was really nice Worf being like, it's like, Martok wants to stay honorable to the Empire, and Ezri's just like, the Empire is not honorable. If you want to be honorable in the Empire, you're gonna need to change the Empire because it's rife with corruption. It's been rife with corruption for like 100 years.
Yeah, have you seen the past several chancellors? They were several dicks out of their several dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, what was it? It was like, what chancellor have you respected? Have you respected any?
Ezra.
Yeah.
Now here's the quote from Ronald D. Moore on that decision to like really just sink your teeth into the Klingons. They talk a good game about how honorable they are, but they're not capable of living up to their ideals. That's an important thing to say, so let's say it.
Yeah.
I mean, that. It's to relate it to contemporary politics, that's just par for the course for despots, they just it's talk a big game, talk about patriotism and values, but while holding none of those values for yourself. And you'll, if you convince enough rubes that follow me if you want to be a true patriot, then no matter what you do becomes patriotic in their eyes.
Yeah. I mean, we've said it before ourselves. There is an inherent contradiction of claiming to be honorable warriors and using cloaking devices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when the Federation is like, we don't do it because it's below, that's just stupid. It's like, just use fucking cloaking devices. But when the Klingons are like, we have honor, and then use cloaking devices, you're like, now hold on, that's a contradiction.
Well, they also want to win.
Yes. Yes, but that's what I mean. That's where there's like a true warrior shouldn't need tricks.
You don't hide in the shadows. You hide literally invisibly.
I like the new, there's a new Romulan guy, I guess, now that our friend has been put in jail, evidently.
Oh, she's dead.
Yeah, she's definitely dead. Anyway, so there's a new Romulan ambassador or whatever.
Liaison.
Yeah.
Person.
And, I like there was, it was a very brief scene where they're talking about how, only the Klingon ships are immune to the Breen weapon. And he's just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
God help us. Fuck.
Yeah.
And what I like is like, Gowron kind of gives him a split second of stink eye. Not Gowron. Martok gives him a split second of stink eye, but then he grins because he's like, yeah, that's right. We are. Fuck you, you green-blooded bastard.
And I think, an interesting thing that we can't, because we've been acting as though Gowron's order to, we'll be the ones to liberate the Alpha Quadrant. He talks a big game, but Worf figures it out that it's got nothing to do with it. Gowron has no illusions that this plan is going to work. It is completely a plot to diminish Martok's influence in the Empire. I don't take him at face value at all. I think Worf's right. I think, Gowron knows that these are losing battles, and he's just sending Martok out to rack up, L's. So
you're right.
When the war is over, it'll look like it's the Gowron show.
Yeah. No, had Gowron had good plans that succeeded, it would have made Martok look even better.
Mm-hmm.
Like people still would have been like, "Oh, Martok liberated the Alpha Quadrant."
Yeah. Yeah. Instead, Martok looks incompetent, and then because obviously one of the things that gets you political power in Klingon culture is being, a successful warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a cute cut scene at the end that I actually think would have been really nice to have been in this episode. But it's Ezri asks Worf at the very, very end what it was like to, for a hot second be the Chancellor and stand at the pinnacle of the Empire. And Worf would say, I wish my father was here to see it. And Ezri would have said, I think he knows. And so does Jadzia. And then they would toast to him and have a nice rest of their evening. And I think that would have been so sweet.
It would have.
And better than anything else Ezri is doing right now, which is almost nothing.
But it was kind of like, I think for tension's sake, better to end on Sick Odo and Kira.
Sicko dough. Love it.
So here's the thing, right? So, we've already found out, this has been established that the House of Martok was like a lowborn house from the Kethel Lowlands. And he's risen up through the military ranks.
Yeah, despite fucking Kor.
Despite Kor's best efforts. And now, that he's been thrust into the very highest tier of Klingon society as the Chancellor. So I'm assuming that means now that the House of Martok is like one of the top houses, probably. I'm sure once you're Chancellor, it puts you at, top of the list, which means...
Ezri's at the top.
Well, Ezri's at the top, but what it really means is that the heir apparent to Martok is Alexander Rozhenko.
No, doesn't Martok have a slew of kids or something?
I'm sure he does.
I know is
no, they don't count. It's only Alexander Rozhenko.
His wife is gonna be even more insufferable now that she's First Lady of Kronos.
That's probably true.
God, she's the best.
I know.
Oh, that's why Martok didn't want the honor of being Chancellor, is because he's like, oh man, I'm going to go move back home to Kronos with that rancid bitch.
Have to hang
but
out
that's the
with
thing,
my
though. He fucking adores her.
That's true.
He loves
loves getting his 4 balls
and he adores
on.
fucking her too. Yeah.
Yeah, their relationship, although not really shown much, is amazing because he is just so I think
they're the Morticia and Gomez Adams of the show.
Yeah, they're like he at least, I don't know about her, but he is still in the honeymoon phase 40 years later.
No, he's just like, she's the worst Patak I've ever known. She's amazing.
She killed my dog.
I find that charming for some reason.
She let my ancient dog escape the house, and I never saw him again. Man, that was a power move.
He keeps a very close eye on that old secretary of his whenever he's home. Shut all the doors. I don't want him wandering off.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen that guy in a while.
Which guy are we talking about?
Remember, in the last Kor episode, Martok suddenly had a PA who was there to relate to Kor.
Oh yeah, he went with Kor, I bet. Must die with honor.
No, because he was there to present the toast.
Yeah.
We thought he was gonna. I think we were all expecting him to, but then he didn't.
Oh, the old guy. Yes,
Yeah.
I remember who you mean now. Yep.
Here's another very sweet note.
Oops, sorry.
When Michael Dorn read the teleplay, he immediately went and found Robert O'Reilly wherever he was and apologized that he's going to have to kill him.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because Robert, the Gowron character is, that is an arc that started relatively early in TNG.
Yeah, like a decade ago.
And it is finally wrapped up, and it's consistent, and hats off to Robert O'Reilly for building a really compelling character out of someone who is basically a buffoon.
And only really, at the end of the day, a handful of appearances.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. If you made a show today with that character, with the character of Gowron, and the character of Gowron didn't exist before, but if you made it today and you had the same plot arc with that character, everybody would think you were doing shitty Trump parody.
Yeah.
But this was, 25 years ago.
Still could have been a Trump parody.
It's true. It still could have been a Trump parody, but
yeah. I mean, people knew who he was, and he'd talked about having political aspirations well back even in the 90s. End of the day, I'd still vote for Gowron before Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, same.
The eyes, really.
Yeah, they're mesmerizing. Good hair, too.
I liked how Gowron managed to go from, Worf, if Martok's house is good enough for him, you're good enough for me. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, Worf, you're a piece of shit, I hate you.
Well, of course, when he was like, it's good enough for me, that's when he was still in this was before he'd sprung his reveal.
Oh, I totally know, but it's like, of course, all it took was this one good mention, and Worf's honor is returned, and then 5 minutes later, Gowron is like, you challenge me, you dog.
Well, again, it goes back to Gowron's whole thing, is that Worf being really the polar opposite of himself in terms of, the ideal Klingon. Worf also seems to have some ability to inspire other Klingons to be better, that Worf really poses a major threat to the Klingon hierarchy. So it's no secret why Gowron hates Worf, even going as far back as, Redemption in those episodes.
I feel like someone smarter than me and also geekier than me.
So Jake.
I feel like there's got to be some kind of comparison between Worf and Sir Gawain from Gawain and the Green Knight. There's something there. I don't know what it is, but I've now put it into the universe.
Good, keep it there.
It does kind of play into this bigger theme of the Federation, other cultures seeing the Federation as a corrupting influence. It's a lot of Ferengi don't like Quark and Rom because they're quote unquote bad Ferengi, and it's there's a lot of Klingon issues with Worf sometimes as being a quote unquote bad Klingon because they're being exposed to these other ideas. I think that's kind of interesting.
There's not much that Quark is up to, is there, right now?
No.
He wasn't in Tacking into the Wind at all, and I read that was because he was busy doing shooting for Buffy. But he had one really good scene in When It Rains.
The
when
coffee.
He was so worried about Odo, and I was so in the feels.
I love that scene because when they opened it, Bashir, I think this was that episode. Bashir's working on something, and O'Brien is just sitting in one of the medical beds with his legs crossed.
Yeah.
He's just so
chill.
He's just hanging out. He's not helping Bashir at all. He's just keeping him company while he works. And then Quark comes in with coffee. Not even Ractigino, coffee specifically.
Yeah.
Well, O'Brien and Bashir don't drink Ractigino.
Yeah.
It's the first day that either shit wasn't breaking down on the station or O'Brien learned to fucking delegate.
He told
no,
someone
I'm gonna
his
say everything
Alamo
was still
model.
on fire.
Yeah, I think that's one of those uphill battles that never ends.
He's got Nog now. He can let Nog do stuff.
That's true.
But yes,
I
noted
think
that.
right now Nog is being a soldier and not an engineer, though.
But he's on the station at the moment, so I imagine he's still in sort of
Was he there? I don't remember seeing him.
He hasn't shown up in the episodes, but I mean, I've been assuming, especially with the
because he was here for Ocean's
Defiant Kerploded, he's probably just chilling out on the station, helping keep it in one piece.
Yeah, that's a good question. How's Vic doing? Is Vic's casino okay? We have to take a quick break from these episodes to go check in on Vic.
I'm
honestly a lady tonight.
I'm surprised they didn't find a way to set a scene at the casino.
Here's what it is. Bashir just keeps banging his head against the wall trying to figure out what's going on with this Odo thing, and he's like, I got to clear my head. So he goes to Vix, and Vic's like, Pally, it's Section 31. Can't you tell?
Somebody says it in song.
Pally, I know a thing or two about weird black ops. You know, in my day it was the CIA, in your day it's the Section 31.
So it's going to be Sloane, right? Because Sloane is the only one we see ever.
Yes. Yeah.
And Sloane just loves Julian so much.
No, it's going to be the Dax symbiote. The one who originated Section 31 300 years ago.
Oh my god.
Gasp, the chief.
Yeah.
No, he's like zooming in with his microscope on the virus, the Odo virus, and it's signed S period Action 31, and then he and O'Brien.
Oh no.
What's another word for
Action
section?
31.
So it's actually Sloane Action 31. Makes perfect sense.
God, Mr. Sloane Action section. I love that this Batman Forever joke just keeps getting so much fucking play on this show.
And every time it gets worse and worse.
It really does.
And it starts off pretty bad anyway. I mean, to be fair.
I mean,
another word for
emotion was
mystery.
pretty good.
Emotion was good.
Yeah,
that's true.
Chuck E. Cheese. Charles Eddington Cheese. My God.
Now I'm just...
Oh, fuck. Now you did it.
What have I done? No.
You've
Somehow
unleashed the
they
beast.
lure a bunch of Dominion people to Chuck E. Cheese. And in the middle of the animatronic show, Chuck, whips his head off. There's Eddington. There's a phaser hitting his guitar. He's just like, ah!
Yikes.
Interesting.
Gonna take us back. Gonna
Speaking
take
of
us back to some of the Julian stuff, because I'm so sick of Ezri Julian already.
Oh
Me
my
too.
God, make it go away.
The writing is it's embarrassing bad.
You wanna hear a
Don't feel
quote?
so bad for the
It won't
actors.
take
Are
us
they
long.
like, wow, this writing was embarrassingly bad?
No, because so here's the quote. It's,
This is the best thing we ever wrote.
Ira Bear says, "We didn't want Ezri to be that available, so this was a courtship in a way." A wacky courtship. A Deep Space Nine kind of courtship where people
Bullshit.
don't even know they're courting or how to court.
Well, I'll
Okay,
agree
so
with
that's
that
an
last
excuse for
bit.
bad
They
writing.
certainly never have fucking any clue what they're doing. Yeah, I'll give them that.
Okay, quick poll.
Mora.
Would we rather have had this bullshit or cut it so that we could have had a scene at Vix?
Vix.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, probably Vix, honestly.
I'm a Vix
What
apologist.
happens in the scene at Vix? Is
I
it just
don't-
Ezri lusting for other boys?
No. It's you know what? It's just him singing songs while people nod along.
It actually would have been really funny to have a scene set in Vix where it's only Vic. There's no humans, and he's just kind of like, it's not the same. He's like,
I miss Zemo.
they keep me on all day, and that part's all right, but like, man, someone should visit me.
Or it's like it's just Vic, middle of the day when he's not working, he's just there in a bathrobe eating cereal, watching the Flintstones.
Or he's writing a fanfic, and it's just the mirror universe stuff. And then I show up, but I'm a human with a human body. Why no one cares?
No, actually, I would cut the whole Ezri Julian romance thing.
Oh yeah.
And then because Ezri Worf has gotten actually very nice now that they're not sexual tensioning all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they're bros. I'm down
Considering
with that.
How bad that started. Like a couple episodes ago when they got captured and stuff, like all of that stuff was really bad. Worf was in particularly fine form in his like misogyny mode.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Like literally calling her promiscuous for stuff that other people whatever.
How
Yeah.
dare a past you fuck somebody else?
Right, like
Sorry,
literally
Worf.
anyone. Like, yeah, so once they now that first off, they should have gotten through this stuff at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah.
Worf also shouldn't have been a huge jerk about it.
Also true.
But it would have been nice because I do think that like when they're being friends, it's actually really interesting. Like the way when they're softer about it, the way they're talking about Jadzia it's like they both lost somebody.
Yeah.
Like, and that's really interesting and nice. Like, I like that idea. Like the Dax symbiont lost their host, like in a incredibly traumatic way. Like that person is gone to the symbiote in a way that, like, you know, someone that you care about has passed. Like that's super cool. So I really like this, like this friendship that they're having, and I like that Ezri is fond of Worf, but also is pretty willing to not put up with his garbage.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think, too, it's interesting that, like, they made it explicit that she has a much less, like, romanticized view of the Klingon Empire than either Jadzia or Curzon. Because, of course, he worked so closely with them back in the day that, like, he became fond of so much about it, including, to an extent, its failings.
Yeah. It was a little weird, that the discussion that, like, started a lot of this, where Worf told Ezri that Martok still considers her part of the House of Martok. Has
that was
Ezri
cute.
Well, it's cute, but has Ezri spoken to Martok on screen?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
So that would have been interesting and nice. Like, I think that would have been a good discussion to have had with Martok. You know, Ezri and Martok. But I did like also in that conversation the moment where, like, Ezri's like, "Oh, that's really sweet," and Worf is kind of like, it's like, no, that's not very Klingon, is it? Very honorable. It's like, better, a little obvious.
Yeah. Bit transparent.
Get this girl a thesaurus.
But Jake, you'd want to bring up the Dominion at one point?
Oh yeah, no, I just was interested in the absolute contempt that the female changeling now has for Weyoun.
I loved it.
Oh
Like,
god,
oh my
yeah.
God.
openly telling him, like, man, as soon as those fucking cloning facilities are open again, you're done.
Yeah.
Yep,
And by the way-
Wayland's 10, 11, 12. I'm just going to take out the next 3 and start fresh at like 15.
And I like that her, like, closing comment to him is basically like, do keep me informed of how reclaiming those facilities is going, huh?
Well, excuse me.
Oh, gosh.
What I really liked was she goes, like, she says, how long till the rain's? Like a few weeks? Maybe?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, maybe if we delay it enough, she won't be mad. Or I could have pulled out a win or something.
Or maybe she'll die of this disease she has.
True.
You got to imagine, like, Weyoun's being like, wonder how Damar's doing. I should give him a call.
I miss Ducat so much.
Suddenly,
I knew where I stood with him.
Suddenly, my predecessor is sounding kind of not crazy. Also, by the way, because you mentioned in the notes that Thought Pran is Thought Gore's success. When did Thought Gore die?
That's funny, because I was reading somewhere, I think on Memory Alpha, that Thought Pran is here, and the description of who that is Thought Gore's successor, and then the notes in Memory Alpha are, yeah, it's never explained what happened to Thought Gore. It's just Thought Pran now, and it's always been.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's not like you could have literally anyone in that suit at any given time, and it can still be Thought Gore.
They probably forgot they had named the character.
Probably,
and they were like,
yeah.
Because as I know they're in the middle of, writing everything serially. So it's all the
Yeah.
writers trying to keep tabs on what the other ones are doing. Because, when, like, Renee Echeverria has to go to Ronald D. Moore and says, by the way, Odo's got the disease now. And Ron Moore's like, God damn it, I have to change my whole fucking story, you asshole. Fine.
Or Thought Pran was an earlier name, and not everyone got the note that it changed to Gore, so...
Yeah.
It's funny.
I've really been enjoying the Breen representation in the show.
Oh my god,
Like,
they are such kiss asses.
They're kiss asses, but, like, you can never tell what's going on with them, and, like,
Yeah.
I like the revelation that, like, they wear cooling suits, but their planet's actually really nice.
I love
Yeah,
that.
Like, it's like, what is with these people? Like, they're so weird. Like, how do you reason and communicate with them? They're like,
I can't wait till Lower Decks ruins them somehow.
oh, of course.
Gotta get a manic
Yeah.
pixie dream Breen out there somewhere.
Ugh.
Actually, that sounds kind of fun.
Would-
I
would-
also
would the
really
neur-
liked... No, you finish. Because
would the Neurazine gas affect the Breen? At the very end, they had to knock out everyone on the ships, and so they're using Neurazine gas.
I remember the Breen do not have blood. Because we learned that when they were in that prison camp.
What are they?
That was one thing.
No, James, but they change everything.
God, I never
airbags.
I never want to know what the Breen actually are. I want them to always be just like, what the hell are you?
Their bodies are a series of fluid-filled planets.
They're actually all just kifs under there. And they wear the cooling suits because they don't like being too warm. Unlike most lizardy things.
See, I'd like to imagine that the Breen are actually completely alien. You know, just like not humanoid at all, and that, you know, they wear these suits to kind of fit in with the humanoids.
They're like Kosh from Babylon 5.
Yeah, like you know, some
like,
kind
what
of
the fuck even is this thing? It lives in a suit.
I was gonna say like you know, the Medusan, which had to just be carried around in a box.
Yeah.
Little cat box.
Maybe the Breen are energy beings, you know, and they're just contained in those suits.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one thing with this where I was like, what's going on here? They were like, oh no, the Breen aren't done installing the thing. We have to wait. It's like, it's not fully installed, but it's there, surely. Just go.
Yeah.
This is not plugged in doesn't mean you can't steal it. Like,
well, probably if they had tried to leave while it was still being installed, maybe the station would have been like, that's interesting.
It just explodes. It explodes if it's not all the way in.
Or maybe if once it's installed, the Breen get off the ship, and you don't have to worry about the fact that gas might not affect them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first female Vorta we've seen in a little while too. I think was the last.
What's that?
Was the last one that we saw
the one with the tits?
Yeah, the titty one.
I think so, from the ship, yeah. Which is funny, because the first Vorta we ever saw was a woman.
Yeah, Eris.
But most of them have been men. Mostly because it's mostly been Wayun.
Yeah, true. All of them are Jeffrey Combs, regardless.
Do you think that in any given area, there's only one Vorta activated per Vorta line?
Yeah, I think that's
our assumption, yeah.
Okay.
I think
I like this
the memory of the old Vortas into the new ones.
I just wasn't sure if there was only like literally like 7 models of Vorta, and so like when Kira impersonates one very poorly, like they're just being like, that doesn't sound like the 2 Vorta I know. Who are you?
No, I wouldn't have recognized, but this is an actor, a Star Trek actor we've seen before, who played Luaran.
What from?
You guys probably won't recognize, but I read that it was Kitty Swink, Armin Shimmerman's wife.
Oh,
so now it's a little bit better that he wasn't in this episode because she's here.
She was the bitchy Bajoran NIMBY woman from the Skrean episode.
Yeah, from Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Good memory, Jake.
Well done.
Well, I remember when we talked about that episode, we talked about how the NIMBY Bajoran was Armin Shimmerman's wife.
See, I had forgotten that fact, though, so I mean, still, good memory on you.
Yeah, I loved her. She had, like, eyeliner, like everywhere.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Something I kind of want to ask, this is changing gears.
Do it.
Okay. Why can't the Pa Wraiths just tell Gul Dukat how to free them?
Because
why do they need this book? This book in order.
I think we find out in the final episode, so I'm not going to spoil anything.
I also don't think. My assumption here is that the Pa Wraiths don't actually know. Like, the whole point is that they're imprisoned in the fire caves, and that they need, and it's probably something where they need to be freed by a specific person, and that's why if anybody else reads the book, they get the old blindo.
No, I am not going to spoil because, like, I happen to read my book does a lot of spoiling the rest of the episodes when I try to do any fucking research right now. So it's like there is stuff in the final episode that makes sense that you would want Kai Wynn to know, but not anyone who is not Kai Wynn to know.
No, very easy enough.
Okay. That makes sense. So
and the Pa Wraiths would know that.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, because I was confused because clearly the Pa Wraiths told Dukat the whole like farmer prophecy thing.
Yeah.
Or they just see through time and they figured that out.
Well, Dukat needed to know.
This could just be a Dukat plan.
No,
it would have. There had to be information complex enough for planning between Gul Dukat and the Pa Wraiths in order for the stories to line up.
The fact that the Pa Wraiths are now basically characters in the show right now because they have to be making these communications delivered, it's absolutely bonkers banana town.
I kind of wonder if the Pa Wraiths can, like, I kind of wonder if part of their punishment is that they exist linearly.
Also, I got this is unrelated, but you said bonkers banana town. The correct phrase is cuckoo bananas. in the context of Star Trek, it's always cuckoo bananas.
What is that from? Something?
Isn't that what what's his fuck was saying? The
I
guy,
don't know. Maybe
the guy in the captain in the William Shatner documentary.
Oh,
Did he keep calling everything cuckoo bananas?
Wacky Doodle.
Oh, Wacky Doodle.
It was Wacky Doodle.
Cuckoo bananas.
That's
sounds like
something
something Vic would say.
Maybe.
That is cuckoo bananas, Pally.
I was gonna say it's a double dumbass on you.
Oh yeah, Wacky Doodle. My bad.
Yeah, Wacky Doodle Cuckoo Bananas. Name of the episode.
Excellent. What the hell was I just saying?
Shit.
It is Wacky Doodle that the Pa Wraiths
are characters.
Yeah.
And I suggested maybe part of their thing is like whatever trapped them in the fire caves also means they exist linearly.
I don't know, because I'm trying to think, because the stuff that they tell Kai Wynn is kind of specific. Because it makes it, like, either they have definitely been conversing with Dukat and have specifically made this plan, but I don't think we've seen them converse with Dukat before.
No, but it's
or
been pretty
they
heavily
happen
implied.
to know what's going to go on with Dukat, so they just tailor their plan to what he's already doing.
Next, I feel like it's been pretty heavily implied he's had communication with them.
But specific enough to say, make sure you use the word restoration a lot, and say you're of the land, and make sure you talk about this thing that only we would know.
So the way those lines were delivered, it sounded like Dukat knew he needed to say them, as opposed to like. So it's either Gul Dukat was just kind of doing stuff, and the Pa Wraiths were like, okay, we'll set it up, but like he didn't know, and that would mean that like why would he have gone to, you know, Kai Wynn in the first place, pretending to be this like lowly farmer who just wants help, unless he knew that this was going to get her into her good graces and be like an advisor to her. Like he knew he needed to be her advisor, so someone must have told him. Because the way he became the advisor was the Pa Wraiths had given Kai Wynn a vision.
Up.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like what little we've seen of them, they speak directly. Again, possibly because they have been severely depowered and are...
They being Pa Wraiths and Dukat?
Pa Wraiths.
Pa Wraiths and Pa Wraiths?
No, just the way they communicate.
Yeah, the way they communicate, I feel like the Pa Wraiths, you know, when they got trapped in the fire caves, were severely depowered, and although still, like, obviously, with crazy magic powers humans can't comprehend, might exist in a plane that is a little more comprehensible to us. And I think they have to work in more humanoid ways.
Yeah, the Pa Wraiths, in their message, they were like, the emissary has faltered.
Yeah.
You will find, someone will come to you claiming, someone of the land will come to you. The restoration is at hand. And like they said very specific, direct things. And then, you know, it was a different episode, but like, you know, the marriage episode where, you know, even Sisko's own prophet space alien mom was kind of like, you know, this is not your path. You will know great sorrow. Like it was all still very loose and in the air, and I'm not actually telling you anything. Whereas the Pa Wraiths are very much like, you know, Sisko has messed up.
Happen.
You need to fix this now.
Yeah. Like they are way more directly just sort of TV bad guys.
Is there a possibility that the Pa Wraith is still, if not possessing Dukat, like, because he was possessed by the Pa Wraith when he killed Jadzia. So maybe there's some of that still there, you know? Maybe he's still got a little bit of Pa Wraith in him. And
makes connection easier.
Yeah, I assumed he was still directly connected in some way, not necessarily like majorly, but like as if there was a direct connection still among Dukat and the Pa Wraiths.
mean, it would
They
also
haven't shown it.
explain. But it would explain like his kind of change in tune between then and now, because you know, at that time he was pretty much just bent on destroying the wormhole and shutting off the Bajorans from the Celestial Temple.
Yeah.
As a, you know, more as a matter of spite than anything else.
So were the power wraiths telling Dukat what to do with the cult?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think after that incident,
because I know we
with
questioned whether
Jadzia-
that was true or not, or whether that was Dukat lying to them.
No, I think at that point he kind of, whatever the Pa Wraith did to him changed him to being, you know,
Their
or at
mouthpiece.
Yeah, you know,
Hot.
or at least they sold him on
a bill of goods.
On a bill of goods that, like, hey, you want to have real power? Get with us, buddy.
Yeah, because like the Pa Wraith, the last thing they want to do is fuck up the wormhole. They want to get back there. So they would have to change his mind about what he wants next.
Except that's the thing, though. When the Kosamojan was in Dukat and he killed Jadzia, they did shut down the wormhole. Like that was what the Pa Wraith did. The only reason it even opened again was because Sisko found
that's true.
The orb in the desert. So
I'm gonna say this: the Prophet's Pa Wraith's divine intervention fucking bullshit makes this show very tenuous sometimes.
Yeah. And the Pa Wraiths were actively trying to stop Sisko from finding the orb. So
That's true. They sent that Pa Wraith cultist to go kill him, which means the Pa Wraiths must have told that cultist to go see Sisko, because how else would that cultist know to go do that? God damn it!
They also sent him the Benny visions.
The fake ones, yeah.
Oh yeah, the Dr. Damar.
Yeah, paint over your story, Benny. So yeah, so it is interesting. The motivations of the Pa Wraiths remain inconsistent and elusive.
Kind of combined on this. Like, who made the Kostamojan security measure?
Seriously.
Where if the wrong person opened the book, they would go blind?
Oh, that. I thought you just meant the fact that, like, the Bajorans are like, only the Kai can look at them. It's like, why not just destroy those?
Right.
See, I thought you meant the cheap lock on it, like every kid's like lockable diary from my youth.
I was thinking that actually watching that scene. It's like Kai win only. Dukat don't look.
Have you seen the bullshit Bajorans do?
Well, no, but it's like, so first off, you have to get the book, and then you need to get blood on the book, then you can read it. And then if you're the wrong person... It can't just be any
blood either, I bet. It's got to be the blood of somebody you murdered, right?
It has to be Sobal.
Yeah.
Specifically Sobor.
Who just was having the worst career ever the entire time.
But you feel it's got to... I feel like it's got to come from, like, someone you struck down in anger. Like, I don't feel like you could just, like, you know, accidentally bite a hangnail and be like, whoops, bloop, you know?
So that's a really good point, right? So who wrote the book?
God.
It must,
yeah.
Because, so, like, obviously it wasn't the Bajorans, the followers of the prophets, did not write a book that can only be read with the blood of someone maybe murdered. And if you're the wrong person, then also blinds you, which sounds an awful lot like
cloud.
Which sounds an awful lot like an act of God that maybe Kai would be like, well, the prophets clearly are actually doing stuff because the security measure on this prophet-made book has blinded Dukat. But so maybe the book was written by like followers of the Pa Wraiths. Why would got into the hands
of the Kai?
Why would the followers of the Pa Wraiths write a book that only the Kai, follower of the prophets, could read?
Because they saw a vision, and that's what the vision was. Duh.
It would have to be.
Maybe it's not.
Well, she's also Kai only in name at this point, right?
Yeah. Well,
so then why didn't it blind her if she's not actually Kai?
I don't even know.
Why does how does this
probably
book
not a Kai or not Kai? It's probably someone who's
banging Dukat.
Yes. No, someone who's a true believer. It's probably that's probably the difference, is that Kai Wind, as much as she's a piece of shit, she truly believes in,
herself.
in the sanctity of the prophets and the Pa race. Whereas Dukat, yeah, he believes, but he's a little more cynical about it, I think.
Mm.
He's more interested in his own personal glorification. Kai Wynn has some semblance of, oh, this will be for the good of Bajor, even if it kills all of the little people.
See, this makes me assume that the Pirates must be able to see through time to have written this book with the instructions for what you need to do to free them from the fire caves.
Yeah, I think it only makes sense that somehow the Prophet archivists got access to a Pa Wraith text.
God damn, there are myriad moments in this fucking series where I wish they didn't bother with these fucking literal god shit.
See, all they really needed to do was get a fellowship of 9 people together to take the book and throw it into the cloud, which then would have destroyed it with its divine lightning.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes and I just remember this last thing. Like, this is probably my last oh my god note. Apparently Earth got attacked?
Oh yeah, did you miss that?
Yeah.
I watched
the
the
Breen
previous
did that.
I watched the previous 4 episodes up to these 2, so I wouldn't be caught off guard by stuff like that. But
the
they
Breen
mentioned
attacked
it.
Earth.
No, they
It must have
mentioned
been-
it in a previous episode once. And then in this episode, when Julian was trying to get information on Odo's medical history, they were like, "Oh, they must be really freaked out about that time Earth got attacked that we're not talking about."
I mean, they showed us like the destroyed Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah,
They showed a picture.
Yeah.
And
Matte
they
painting.
said it. Yeah, they showed a picture and they said, "Oh, Earth got attacked." That's like it. They really have, like, you would think that if Earth was attacked, that, maybe they would have had like Jake visiting home, visiting his
Rossi,
grandfather.
This is
and
not.
Earth gets attacked.
This is not Star Trek Earth. It's Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Okay.
Also,
Yeah,
honestly,
right.
compared
Fair
to
point.
that time Florida got attacked in the 22nd century, this was nothing.
Sure.
Yeah,
but also,
I just think it would have been nice if they had gone into it at all.
I think it was more.
maybe.
They wanted it to be a surprise factor that, oh right, they can attack Earth.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like the attack that takes out Earth, but just the Breen have the balls to do this in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there was the most casualties you'll see in this fucking war.
No,
Except for,
but-
like, they're gonna have to rebuild the bridge again and again, but...
I mean, so for these writers, at least, this should have been like, it would have been a JFK moment for the writers. Like, for us, it would have been a 9/11. Like, technically, it's like when it comes to sheer numbers, but it's not about the numbers. It's about like the audacity of the act.
Yeah.
And in that case, it doesn't matter how it would be. Oh my God, the home world was attacked. Our most defended place, heart of the Federation, managed to be struck. Like, even if it was a slap in the face, it would still have been this thing that, like, oh my God, they could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, having it be this kind of just, this weird kind of throwaway was just peculiar.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. Also, like, you think they really wanted to fuck with people, they would have attacked Paris, not San Francisco.
Why?
Well, Paris is actually your seat of government.
Oh, right.
Well, no,
Yeah,
they were
capital.
attacking Earth, they were attacking Starfleet, though, right?
Well, I mean, they attacked Starfleet headquarters, but, like, you could have, like, totally fucked the government and thrown everything into disarray.
Yeah, but I don't
Because
think I don't think it's that they're attacking Earth. I think it's they're attacking Starfleet. I think that was the message
so
they were sending.
Is it like attacking? Is attacking Starfleet like attacking the biggest military base? Like, is it like attack? It's not the biggest military base, but like, what's it? Not Key West.
I feel like it would be kind of like
the
blowing up
officer
Pentagon.
training school for U.S. military.
West Point.
West Point. Thank you. Yeah. So is attacking Starfleet like attacking West Point, where attacking Paris would be like attacking Washington D.C. like as the comparison?
Like, I think it's more like going after the Pentagon instead of the White House.
Yeah.
But like, had they thought about it, what they should see, they proved the Breen don't know enough about Earth, because if you totally fucked the Earth, the Federation government, there'd have been total disarray while a bunch of evil admirals tried to get themselves named temporary president, and that would have brought down the Federation in 10 minutes.
Is the Wait, the admirals are the admirals in Starfleet.
Yeah.
They're not in the government.
No, but I imagine if the whole
was trying to do.
Yeah, like if the whole government was wiped out, you could totally see some admirals trying to be like, emergency measure military government.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't
didn't
be
they already try
in the
that one
line of
time?
succession.
Yeah, Leighton.
Yeah.
You know, it would be that the Secretary of Commerce became president through the line of succession.
Yeah.
And then, and then he's just a pushover, so the admirals take over.
Well, they did that in Battlestar Galactica, where it was the education minister.
Yeah, and if
who
I
became
recall,
president.
There was a power struggle between the president and the military commander.
Yeah, there may have been, but then they made out, so it was okay.
They did make out.
Hot.
Totally made out.
Extremely hot.
It's a hot show.
They did that until Ensign Rose showed up and was a total bitch.
She was
okay,
way
now we're dropping inside jokes about Battlestar Galactica.
Wait, Ensign Roche actor shows up in that show?
Yeah,
Spoiler
pivotally.
alert.
Oh, wow.
Welcome
cool.
to an FTL jump to steer her by.
I really want to watch that show at some point.
Yeah, someday. I think
It's a good show.
I think what we should do though is watch the 5 episodes of the 70s one first.
70s one is good. It's not good by modern standards. It's
It
campy
also
as
just
fuck.
kind of ends, if I remember.
Well, yeah, because it got canceled.
Yeah. I mean, there's Battlestar 1980, which is not
By all
exactly,
accounts, actually bad.
Yeah, it takes place many, many years after, and they've reached Earth, and it's just them hanging out on Earth having adventures.
With flying motorcycles, if I recall.
Sounds
Ooh.
nice.
Anyway, we've wandered into 70s Battlestar. Was there anything else before we wrap?
Wynn delivers the fucking most stone cold line at one point when she's talking about how, oh yeah, the restoration is going to kill a lot of my people. And as long as my people survive, the line is, the rest are of no consequence. And I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh,
Yeah.
Wynn!
Yeah,
Damn.
Louise Fletcher, man, she is so good.
Yeah.
She really is.
God, what she throws out
She's
to
fucking
Cot.
brutal.
Oh, it's so good.
Dude, oh my God. It is hard to make me feel bad for Ducat, but Louise Fletcher manages. She's so cold. It's amazing.
Oh, no, see, I didn't feel bad. That was amazing.
Oh.
That was fuck, I mean, you are evil, but that's
you can go panhandling on the streets. Maybe you'll make enough money to feed yourself and give yourself a place to sleep.
Yeah, good luck with that shelter.
oh,
When you learn some humility, maybe you'll get your eyesight back.
See, I was distracted that whole scene because I have seen way better sightless acting from actors before. I'm like, oh, Mark, honey, I love you, but you are not looking like you're supposed to not be able to see.
yeah, being fair, that's probably so hard to pull off. And a show like this doesn't have the time to really do the extra takes and let him really sink into it,
I know. I kept thinking they should do something where they color the eyes like they do with Geordi, but the idea is that the Bajorans can't find anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I find it
Your eyes
interesting,
just
though,
look
that they
weird,
did
dude.
send him
Get
to a
it.
doctor, and the doctor apparently wasn't like, your eyes are fine, but also you're a Cardassian.
That's a good point.
He pulls Ducat aside. He's like, do you know your DNA is not Bajoran?
You started bleeding and it was brown, and that's
Just
wrong.
curious. I didn't want to bring it up in case you didn't know.
Oh, dearie dear.
Deary dear.
Oh, I mean, I miss Sobor. He's a nice guy.
That poor sap.
I tested his
That
DNA.
stupid idiot.
He's not who he says he is.
Yeah, he should have gone to the news instead of to Kai Wynn.
Oh, that does remind. So I do not remember if this comes up, but don't you think it was a little weird that Kai Wynn would throw Ducat out on the street when Ducat knows where the body of the person the Kai murdered is?
Well, the thing, though, is, who's gonna, here's this guy that was hanging around the Kai for some reason that nobody really liked, who's now blind somehow, screaming on the street that the Kai is corrupt and this and that. Who's gonna believe him?
But there's a body somewhere. It might have got thrown into, a replicator reclamator or whatever.
I was going to say, whatever they did with it, he has been, atomized. There's no evidence.
I
considering
refuse to
phasers
believe that
can
Gul
vaporize
Dukat did
people.
not retain enough evidence to convict Kai Wynn of murder. does not sound like Gul Dukat.
I mean, it was probably in his room, which he was not allowed back into by that guard.
And now he can't find.
I mean, also,
the police, hey, go check out. I hid some information about this guy Kai murdered.
Nah, I could see how it's just like she'll have his shit thrown out. She'll,
Fair. I won't keep arguing. Fair enough, but
this ain't her first rodeo.
I mean, the other thing is like Dukat has clearly met his match.
Yeah,
and he's just very like no one has ever challenged him for like champion piece of shit before. But like he has to just hand his crown over.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. Kai Wynn isn't his match. Paw Wraiths are his match.
Paw
Without
Wraiths are
Paw
both
Wraiths,
of their
he'd
match.
still be on top.
Sure.
But yeah, no, like he made a bit of a misstep here, and yeah, like against any other people, or again without the Paw Wraith thing, all right. But with this the way it is, like fuck, he's just
He'll be fine. He'll be great.
Oh yeah.
So looking forward to this.
He's gonna pull himself up by his bootstraps. Yeah.
he's going to make a Bajoran Cardassian fusion inspired restaurant.
Ooh.
Oh man, that could be good.
He is himself a Cardassian Bajoran fusion, so no one better to do it.
I still love that, like, apparently Dukat looks and sounds enough like Dukat that Sobar was like, it's like, look at him, you know who he is.
He has 10 feet of neck.
It's just like, it's like, yeah, remember that time the Pope was tricked by literal Hitler because he changed his hairstyle?
Hey, you ever seen that photo of, God, what's her name? From Eternal Sunshine there? Without her bangs, or with her bangs swept aside? Yeah, Zooey Deschanel. It's a photo of her with her hair done differently so she doesn't have bangs.
I don't
And
think she's
holy
in Eternal Sunshine.
She's not.
No, you.
who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh, I was thinking of 500 Days of Summer. That's what it was.
Okay.
I had the wrong title, not the wrong actress. But, yeah, like, they have a picture of her, and her hair's all done up. She's in an award show or something, and she's not wearing her usual, like, horn-rimmed glasses, and you're like, oh, wow. Superman just wearing glasses and changing his hair would work.
At that point, Zooey Deschanel is probably indistinguishable from about 50 other women her same age. Like
Other manic trick pixie dream girls.
Okay. I will take to my grave that Katy Perry and Zooey Deschanel are probably the same person.
Oh, they look a lot alike. Yeah, people have been commenting on that for years.
I'm not convinced that I've never seen them in the same room together. So
Every time you invite them to a party, only one shows up.
that's right. I invite them to all my parties. Neither of them show up.
That's
Oh,
what
no.
I'm saying.
That doesn't prove the point. Doesn't
But I
disprove
show
it.
up, so maybe I'm Zoe Deschanel / Katy
Oh
Perry.
my god.
That explains it. That
It
explains why
does
no one
explain
comes to our
everything.
parties. Because
Yeah.
everyone we know is actually just James Rossi.
Or
And
Zooey
James
Deschanel.
Rossi is secretly Jeffrey Combs.
Nice. Jeffrey Combs forever.
I love Jeffrey Combs. My God.
All right.
Oh man,
well,
he popped up in Babylon 5 and I was so happy to see him.
nice.
Yay.
Should ask
Alright.
him to come
Well,
on
if
the show.
he popped up, it sounds like he was happy to see you as well. Heyo.
We're talking about actors. It's almost an hour 50 at this point.
Most
Caitlin.
of this is cuttable.
Jake us out.
Well,
Ja-
thank you for joining us for another episode of A Star to Steer Her By. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, you can find A Star to Steer Her By where all fine podcasts are sold. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Facebook by searching for A Star to Steer Her By. We are at SSHB Podcast on Twitter and Tumblr, or you can visit our website, sshbpodcast.com. As usual, I have been Caitlin.
I be Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
I'm James. Hi. Bye.
Thank
Bye-
you for
bye,
joining
James.
us again, James.
Bye.
And
You're
yeah,
very
everybody, make sure to join us again next week when we talk about 2 more Deep Space Nine episodes, Extreme Measures and the Dogs of War.
Bow wow.
We are getting ever closer to the end of Deep Space Nine, and I am very sad.